On the morning of June 18, 2023, a submersible carrying 5 people slipped beneath the surface of the North Atlantic, beginning a long descent into the absolute dark. At 9:53 a.m., all communication stopped. Shortly after, surface tracking teams registered a single, violent acoustic anomaly echoing through the water column. In milliseconds, the vessel yielded to the crushing weight of the ocean, imploding inward under 4,930 pounds per square inch of water pressure. At a depth of 3,300 meters, the margin for error disappears. The implosion marked the end of a descent that had been underway for years, driven by specific design choices and a unique approach to maritime law. OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush built his company on the premise of disruption. He believed traditional maritime engineering was too slow and too cautious. His target was the wreck of the RMS Titanic, sitting on the ocean floor at a depth of nearly 4 kilometers. Among the 5 men on board that June morning was Paul Henry Nargeolet, a veteran diver with decades of experience exploring the Titanic, alongside paying clients seeking an exclusive excursion. Those clients paid $250,000 for their seats, but legally they weren't classified as passengers. OceanGate labeled them mission specialists, a calculated loophole designed to bypass stringent maritime passenger safety laws. The entire expedition rested on this foundation of regulatory evasion and corporate risk-taking, rather than verified, rigorous engineering. When designing for the deep ocean, the proven standard is a perfect sphere made of titanium. A sphere distributes external pressure equally across its entire surface. The Titan discarded that geometry. Instead, it used an uncertified 5-inch thick cylindrical tube made of carbon fiber, glued to titanium end rings. Carbon fiber is extremely strong under tension, but brittle under compression. Every time the submersible dove and surfaced, it underwent severe pressure cycles. This induces cyclic fatigue, where the intense squeezing and releasing causes the layers of the carbon composite to microcrack and slowly peel apart. In aerospace and marine engineering, navigating these material risks requires a failure modes and effects analysis, a systematic map of every way a component could break. To compensate, they installed an acoustic real-time monitoring system designed to listen for the sound of snapping carbon fibers during a dive. But under deep-sea pressures, the time between the hull snapping and total structural collapse is measured in milliseconds. The hull was trapped in an active cycle of degradation, relying on a warning system that the physics of an implosion guaranteed would be too late. Industry experts knew this. The Marine Technology Society formally warned the company. Whistleblowers within OceanGate demanded non-destructive testing of the hull, and they were fired for it. The physical evidence of failure emerged a full year before the disaster. During an expedition in 2022, on a mission known as Dive 80, the crew heard a massive, jarring crack reverberate through the vessel as it returned to the surface. This chart shows the strain gauge data recorded during that exact moment. You can see the initial linear response to pressure, which then takes a sudden, sharp shift into a nonlinear trajectory, the mathematical signature of structural failure. Forensic analysis later confirmed what this data point meant. The intense decompression upon surfacing caused the inner 2 layers of the carbon fiber hull to completely delaminate and separate from the rest of the structure. Faced with this data and the testimony of his crew, Stockton Rush dismissed the cracking noise as a harmless shift in the vessel's exterior frame. He refused to temporarily ground the submersible for a comprehensive internal inspection. The company possessed literal mathematical proof that their hull was actively breaking apart. They chose to ignore it. When the Titan vanished, it triggered a massive 5-day international rescue operation, but that response was critically delayed. OceanGate's internal protocols held up notifying the Coast Guard for 7 agonizing hours after they lost contact. The search concluded when a deep-sea, remotely operated vehicle found the Titan's severed titanium tail cone lying on the ocean floor, confirming the worst. Post-incident investigations pieced together the final chain of failures. Following the damage of Dive 80, the submersible was stored outdoors in a parking lot in Newfoundland for months, subjecting the already compromised carbon fiber to repeated temperature fluctuations. Then, rather than utilizing a specialized support vessel, the Titan was towed out to the dive site atop its launch and recovery system, dragging through surface waves and absorbing repeated impacts along the journey. What happened on June 18th was the final structural surrender of a vessel that had been used far past its mechanical limit. There is a historical parallel in where the Titan ultimately fell. It was destroyed by the same arrogance that doomed the ocean liner it was trying to visit. When the Titanic sank in 1912, the immediate public hearings that followed birthed modern maritime safety laws. A century later, OceanGate operated behind non-disclosure agreements and active regulatory evasion to avoid those very same requirements. You can bypass a regulation, and you can attempt to outsmart an industry, but the pressure of the deep ocean responds only to engineering, not corporate ambition. The debris of the Titan now rests in the dark, 2 miles from the wreck it was built to explore, a reminder of a lesson history had already provided.